Welcome to the Research Like a Pro question and answer series. Today's video is about how to cite U.S. Dutch Reformed church records. And one of our study group members submitted a question about how to create a citation from a book that was digitized on Ancestry. And within that volume, there were a lot of different church records, births, marriages, burials, baptisms, that kind of thing. And it was a little bit tricky to create the citation, so we walk through all the steps and analyze the source and figure out the best way to create the citation. And so this was really fun to do and fun to walk through. So hopefully this is helpful for you as you're thinking through how to create a citation.
So now to Bob's citation question. I have
Okay.
many records found on Ancestry by searching U.S. Dutch Reformed Church records. The actual images are in a specific state and city, and then by looking at the image, I get the record number with the collection. By going to the first record, I can get the name of the actual book. Good job. ChatGPT told me to use the book as the source and to cite using the Dutch Reformed Church records in selected states as the third layer. Is that a correct use of citing? I think that's a great use of citing. Yeah, because then
Oh,
you know where they're coming from.
I'm just reading the question because it's hard to digest the audio version of it.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, it is easier to read it. So yes, so we teach that to go to the beginning of the microfilm, look at the specific book, but maybe the book wouldn't give you that much information about where it came from. If it's just saying U.S. Dutch Reformed Church Records or whatever. Um, I think getting a little more specific could be helpful in that case. But then
Okay, I
again,
think I know what he's
yeah,
asking now. So
okay.
this happens all the time when we are looking at microfilms of volumes of books, original church record volumes, right? And so you have a church book, it has birth, marriage, baptism records in it. And to know what to put in your citation, you often have to go look at the very first image and see what the title of the volume is if they image that. And sometimes it'll say baptisms and burials 1700 to 1750, or it'll say baptisms volume 2 or something like that, or it'll say the name of the parish and that kind of thing. So yes, it's very important to look at that because otherwise you can't cite that original volume as well. You can cite the database, how you found it, like at Ancestry and this collection and this image number, but it's important to show that you understand the source as far as like, this is a church records book that has been digitized and put on Ancestry. And I searched it through this database, but I want to actually show my reader that this is an original source of church records from this parish. And that's kind of what I was talking about in the beginning with I wanted to really highlight and emphasize in my BLM citation that I was looking at the original image of the patent and not just citing the derivative page. So this is a great question, Bob. And I kind of am tempted to go to Ancestry and look at this, but we probably don't have that much time. But I think that you're on the right track with that. And why don't you tell me if I got your question right? Like, is that what you meant in your question?
Uh, Yes, you answered it. I didn't get really specific with ChatGPT today, so I don't haven't rewritten my citation yet. But it says the book itself is the source,
Mm-hmm.
and the details about like it's a marriage of so and so is kind of the citation part. And it has I guess the first part is the physical, and then it has a digital where you put in the digital layer is the link,
Mm-hmm.
and then it threw in, citing the collection at the end. And, when you were talking earlier, your citing was really, with the earlier question about citing, you were kind of focusing on the National Archives and said it wasn't really used much before anymore. So that's why I was kind of wondering if this was, ChatGPT was giving me correct
Oh,
information or leading me down
yeah.
the
So the
things
citing layer for that would be citing the Dutch Reformed Archive in Brussels or something. Where would that be? Not in Brussels. What's somewhere in Denmark? No,
Well, it's U.S.
Netherlands.
Dutch Reformed.
Oh, never mind.
I'm guessing this is in the U.S., like maybe New York or
Okay, New
something
York.
like that.
So
Yeah, most
where
of
where
it's
does
out
that
of New
volume
York, New Jersey.
exist? So it would be citing like the actual repository that has the original book. that's what the citing layer is. So let's try to make this citation. So some of the elements that we know are like U.S. Dutch Reformed Church records. That's the collection title, Ancestry. And then we also know it's going to be Ancestry, and then it's going to be a URL in Ancestry. So let's just go to Ancestry. Because this is challenging. It is like a lot of, is this the one?
Yes.
So let's take the whole title there and we'll put it in our collection here. So there's a lot of ways you can cite something from here. And the simplest way is to, what's the name of somebody that you would want to search?
First name Conrad, last name Otte, O-T-T-E.
Do you want to do this marriage?
That's, I think, no, the second one, Catherine.
Okay. All right. So here, let's see what Aura gets out of here. Okay, not bad. So here's the original image, right? So if we click on the image, we can see there's 620 total. We're on 86, so we're towards the beginning of this volume. We can see the film strip here, and we can remember, okay, we're on image 86, but now let's go back to the beginning of this and see like what the first page says as far as the name of this. Oh, here we go. So it doesn't have, let's see, that's the last book. New Jersey Union City Christchurch members, marriages, baptisms. So do we think that applies to everything after it? That's like the title page.
Well, it does apply to record 86, which is my
Okay.
record. So I figured it, yes,
Yeah.
right. Each time it changes to a different book, it goes back to record 1, it gives
Yeah.
another title.
I wish it had the front page of the volume. That's how Family Search does it, but this one doesn't, and that's okay. It has this, so we can do that. Now let's just jump back to 86. Okay, so I copied and pasted that info, and now let's put it in PowerPoint so we can have that for later. So that's the name of the book. And so we might, let's say that this is the exact name printed on the front of the book. So we could put that in quotes. So this would be like the physical layer, right? The physical layer of the like book. Like if we had gone to the repository, like the archive that has this, and we looked at the book, we would use this as the name of the source. Since we accessed it online, we have the digital layer also. So we accessed it on the website. So we're going to take some information from the digital layer and the physical layer, and we're going to put them together in a layered citation. And sometimes there could be another layer, like if you accessed if you can access like a microfilm of it somewhere. So that would be why you might have a third layer, even. What other layers might we have, Mom?
Well, I was going to say go back to the Ancestry page and let's see what they tell us about where this came from.
Oh, yeah. That would be like our citing layer, right?
Let's see if that would be important information that we like, that would give us any more information. Okay, so see the archives of the Reformed Church. And I think that would be an example of good information to cite because that's pretty specific where that came from because we want to know where Ancestry picked this up from.
Yeah, so
And
citing the
important.
archives of the Reformed Church in America. See, this is what you would put in. Like this is often the citing layer where you say, let's not do microfilm, let's do citing.
I think that's a great example of citing something like that, an archive. Yeah, that's really good. Because even though your physical book layer does say New Jersey, it doesn't have the New Brunswick, which is where the archives are. I'm assuming.
So let's grab the URL and we can finish this up. Accessed. And then
and you're going to want to put the
we have
name
to
of
put
the
the item
couple.
of interest. So we would put the page number first, probably, because if you were going to look at the book, you would first get this title, then you'd go to the page number. So let's see if we can see what page it was. Do you guys see a page number anywhere? Or maybe it's just by date. Oh, 859 is it? No, 1859.
Hmm.
Right. Yeah, it's just going to be by date
Yeah.
then. And we can also use image 86 of 620
Mm-hmm.
somewhere.
In the digital there.
Yeah, so let's see, where can we find Otti? Okay, Conrad Otti, 1 July 1859. What was her name?
Katharina, Michelle, just end at the first L.
Okay, good. Great.
And
So,
you'd want to note that it's a marriage because that, it's marriages and baptisms. So you'd want to put marriage.
yeah, I wonder, I would want to look and see how it's organized. Like, are the
Mhm.
marriages interspersed with the members, or is it a members list and then the marriages and the baptisms? Because then you would put, I'm guessing it's like that. So it probably has a marriage section and then the date. Once you know how the book's arranged, it's a little easier to cite that.
Yeah.
But do these all seem like they're marriages? I mean, it's in a different language, I guess. I don't really
Yeah,
know.
everything right there is a marriage, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so probably the marriages are all grouped together. So yeah. So now if someone went to go get this book, they would have half of what they need. They also need to know where is this book in the world. So you could actually just, instead of saying citing, you could just make two layers, the physical layer and the digital. So this kind of where to find the book is the last thing, right, Mom?
Well, when I was reading New Evidence Explained, the fourth edition, I noticed that Elizabeth Shomills does use additional layers. Like she would have that be a semicolon and have it be a
Yeah,
third
it
layer.
feels like it needs to be a semicolon for some
But I
reason.
don't know that you have to say citing, but you're
No.
thinking about if this is something different here. We're citing the book, but now we're citing the archives. And so that's a semicolon, dividing that
Mhm.
up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the semicolon divides the book from, like, in a repository situation, semicolons are the punctuation that divide all the different levels in the repository. So it's kind of
Mhm.
tricky because you also use the semicolon to separate these two big layers, but then within
Mhm.
the repository physical layer, there's a bunch of semicolons too, because you separate the book from the item of interest, from the name of the archive, from the city and state. So you got a lot of semicolons in there. But now we have, I mean, what else are we missing from here? The image number, image 86. You could, I mean, you don't actually need it because you have the URL that goes right to it. But I sometimes just like to include it because, like in this case, we were navigating away from the image to see the beginning of the book. So, oh, it was 85.
It was
Oh no,
86.
we went back one.
So,
86 of 620.
so often when I'm creating a citation, I will do physical first so I can get the image number and like if it's family search, the image group number. So then I can go look at the beginning and easily get back to it so I don't have to remember it.
So you do the
I'll do the
digital
physical layer
layer,
first, the digital
digital
layer.
layer first,
Yeah.
because you do this part.
Yeah. I just do that really
Then once
fast.
you have this part, you
Hmm.
can do the physical layer.
Yep.
Now, if somebody wanted to do a really simple citation, they could just only do the digital layer, but then add the item of interest to the end, right? And just
Yeah.
say, and this is what I'll often do for Ancestry databases, which is so easy. You just add Conrad, and Katerina Michelle marriage and the date.
And sometimes I'll put that up right behind the collection because I want to see right at the beginning who this is about.
Like before this,
Mm,
like that. Yeah.
yeah.
With no period. We have to have a comma there. There. So that's an easy way to do it. But if you wanted to not put this here and just have two big layers with everything, you could take that off. And now we just put these two together. So and you can decide which layer comes first based on what you want to emphasize, right? So what Tom Jones says is you should probably emphasize the way that you viewed it.
Hmm.
So that's a principle that he teaches. Sometimes I don't like to do it that way. I want to cite the original first to show the evidence qualities. So it's up to you, but let's do it that way. So let's put this at the end. of this. And now we have everything all together in one big citation. Let's make it smaller so it doesn't have that weird break. Oh, it won't work. Oh, there we go. So then you have the collection, ancestry, the URL, the access date, the image, and then you have the book and the item of interest. And then you have the archive information. So some people might say citing right here, citing archives of the Reformed Church in America, New Brunswick, New Jersey.
Okay. You should paste that in the chat so Robert can, or Bob can snag it.
There you go.
Well, I actually did a screen print, so I
Okay.
have it.
So you've got
just-
it.
Won't let me
Thank you
paste it. I
very
don't know
much,
why.
but just one real quick question. The third record on that same ancestry list, when you go back to record 1, it's the same book, but it's, I guess, digitized by someone else, and you can see the cover of the book.
Oh, great. Oh, whoops, I passed it.
The third one there.
That one?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see what the difference is. Can't tell.
It looks like it's the same thing, but it's
It's,
done by somebody else.
yeah,
It doesn't tell you
And when you
any
go
different
to
source.
when you go to
ancestry.
the image and go back to record 1, you can see the actual book.
Oh, interesting.
There we go. See, yeah, this is the title that was actually written on it. So that's good. You can put that in quotation marks. If you don't have a title, sometimes books like this don't have a title and you just have to write a description of the book, then you wouldn't put quotations around it. But if you are using the exact title that's on the front of the book, you can put quotes around it to indicate this is the exact title that's on it.
Okay.
So it's actually abbreviated. So you'd want to change it to match this exactly.
Okay.
If you
That-
otherwise you wouldn't put the quotes. So like
That
for
has different dates too than the collection, the ancestry, the first one we looked at. This is more specific with dates.
yeah, it's different.
I'll look at that again. I thought it was the same, but
Well, let's see. I think it's just
Well, like you say, it just might be a
slightly different.
different filming of it or something.
Okay, I took a screenshot of it. Let's compare.
oh yeah, different date. Oh,
All right. What's
yeah,
the
that was a
difference?
different date. Yeah.
Oh, because okay, yeah, 1859 would be in this collection because it goes to 1867.
And this is the title we got from the others. New Jersey Union City Christchurch Members Marriage Baptisms 1853 to 1951.
Right.
So I think that is because it included more than this first book,
Right.
probably. So then we would just change it to say exactly what this says, and then that
I
would
would
be in
use
quotes.
this one better. I think it's better.
And then we'd have to change the URL to match that other URL.
Right.
So this one works fine, except for I would take this off because we don't actually know that it was the exact title. It would belong in the digital layer probably somehow, but it's okay. It's pretty good. Well, thank you for that, Bob. That's such a great question.
Well, and thank you for all of that analysis.
That's fun.